phone is in control of your brain.
The addiction, as you say, is real.
Yeah, it is. It is real.
This is an amphetamine. The productivity aspect of the reducing digital noise is phenomenal.
There's me. I thought I was going to get all excited about CEOs batching their emails. It is literally unbelievable the amount of PR that is being stacked onto global geopolitics on top of what happened yesterday. Then there's something today, and then tomorrow something else will happen. And it is designed to just keep you overwhelmed so you stop looking.
Welcome to Influential Visions. Here we interview futuristic leaders who share their deep industry knowledge and business experience with you, ensuring you have your finger on the pulse and your eyes wide open. Here is your host, Nathaniel Schooler.
Focus mastery, how CEOs cut through digital noise. Well, this is a big one. I cut all distractions for 7 days. Okay, look, I didn't do that. Are you insane? Much like a drug addict, I decided to follow some sage advice to reduce it dramatically instead. Got a bit caught up, I must admit, in the geopolitics and realized that it was just costing me lots of time, stress, and peace of mind. My workouts were suffering, work was suffering, and I just thought, you know what? I'm actually going to focus on working harder, training harder, and reducing my dependency upon the endorphins that are actually obtained from social media. And in this conversation, Stephen J. Manning, over the years, has made massive quantum leaps in productivity over his decades in business, and he's going to share some great information there as well. But you know what I changed over the past 7 days is that I increased my exercise regime dramatically, reduced doom scrolling. I used Grok to give me the news instead of actually scrolling as much as I was doing, because I just found that was wasting a lot of time. And I managed to batch edit a substantial number of YouTube shorts. So, what do you think, Steve? What for you in your career was the most big quantum leap that you made, do you think, when it comes to productivity and cutting through digital noise?
Well, the productivity, digital noise, to bifurcate the two for one moment, I think productivity, the singularly greatest advancements for me, if you will, is, and I'll set aside the hard rock stuff, which is time management, prioritization, becoming a non-procrastinator, dispensing with imposter syndrome. Those are real bedrock concepts of becoming more efficient, more productive. I began to understand much better something my father taught me when I was very young. And one of the many wise things he said was that if you could do something, do it well. If you can't do it well, might as well give it to someone else to do it well. So in terms of productivity, for me, as a young man growing up in the business, growing a business, and then being adjunct or part of many other businesses in my work, developing businesses also in my consultative work, is just that. Understand your competencies, honestly. Those are honest assessments, and become very clear on what you don't know. So the biggest quantum leap for me to come to the realization that as smart as I thought I was, I was going to break down the walls. I was going to run around anybody. I was going to run through them and set the world on fire every single day. At some point, the bruises begin to really weigh on you very heavily. In fact, they may just overcome the benefits from you being around. So I became very clear, and to this day, I think one of the greatest strength I have as an executive, as a business person, as a leader, if you will, or a manager is I'm very clear on what I don't know. That makes me very productive because I'm not going to go and invent the wheel. Now, I often say to people when I reach out to Schooler or whoever, hey, listen, this is something you know I don't, and I'd like to advance the topic, the project. Well, why don't you read up on it and study? Wait a minute, are you giving me homework? So, and the homework part comes down to this. A long discussion we had this morning with a gentleman who, all you listening watchers should tune in because we're doing a big round table in a week or two. Brilliant. Now, if I pick apart anything he does, his competencies, I say, what do I know about that? Well, I know enough to intrigue someone's mother-in-law or, dinner or poolside. I can vax on that stuff. But if I devote, and this I think is a lesson, if I devote my entire cognitive rest of my lifetime to that competency, which I don't have, I may talk about I don't have, at the end of time, I will always be a talented beginner because the world's not waiting for me to catch up. It's galloping ahead. So I'm starting here, progressing very fast because I'm so smart. I'm so strong. I'm so devoted. And that man will, in the middle of the night, he will forget more than I will ever know. So bottom line for me, the singular greatest thing, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of productivity, is I'm very clear on what I don't know. Now, I coupled with that something that I preach, you preach. I preach you have to do homework. And then the leading light, if you will, the Klieg lights are, I'm a shameless researcher. So if I'm more productive than this guy, less than that guy, but if I'm more productive than this person, it's because whatever the topic is, and good, man, we run across a lot of very interesting topics from clients and relationships and so on, head-scratching topics, stuff you just never expect to encounter. I know that I can handle competently, but if I don't, I'm a shameless researcher. That does not mean I am now going to read 10,000 pages real quick, 17 books. No, I'm going to search and reach out to find the people that are truly leaders in that world. And then say, look, this, I don't want to learn it, but I need to know the moving parts. What do I do next? How do I counsel my client, whatever? And then, of course, the trick is, as you and I know darn well, is that there are two sides to when you get there, when you find that person. You have to find it, which makes us good researchers. Just find the person who can help us not do the research. But when you get there, you have to be able to offer something to those people, some quid pro quo. Why would I tell you? I mean, it's an amazing thing when you reach out to the super expert in one thing and you ask them a really seminal question and they're scratching their head saying, why the heck would I tell you that? Interesting enough, if you read us, listen to us, you'll hear this. The best of the best, the smartest, the most accomplished people out there are glad to help. There's something in their psyche that's glad to help. And what they want in return, respect, thank you, and shockingly, once you get to them, which is a chore, they are glad to help. And what they want you to show your gratitude for help, and they want you to follow up. They want to know how you made out. Was your advice good? Did it propel you forward? They want to know, and they appreciate it. It's a funny thing when you reach out to someone like that, and they don't have to talk to you, but they do, and then they want to buy you breakfast next time you're in town to chat. So words to the wise. Do that which you know how to do. In the words of my dad, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. If you can't do it right, find somebody else who will. The most single greatest advance for me was the recognition of be really clear what you don't know and act accordingly. That's a biggie for me. I hope it resonates.
It's massive. It's absolutely massive because it is. There's me. I thought I was going to get all excited about CEOs batching their emails and following the Eisenhower Matrix, but what you said really just makes that look like a small thing. Yeah, despite the
No, no,
fact
no,
that
no!
that
Please
is
don't discount that,
no, that
because
is
that's
very
Eisenhower
important.
model.
But
Oh, critical
but
day to day.
it is day to day, but what you just said is so much more valuable than that, because even if look right, even if you're going to hire someone to do something, you still need to know how that thing works, in my opinion. And it doesn't mean you have to be able to do it yourself. I like to be able to do these things myself, or at least do a bit of these things myself, because then you can understand how much effort it will take for someone to actually do the job you don't want to do. So I kind of like that, right? But this Eisenhower Matrix, I'm not dissing that because it's really important. I've got it written here on my screen. You know, the urgent and important do first tasks. So that can be applied to email and tasks, right? You do them first because they're urgent and important for achieving goals. Then you do the important but not urgent. They contribute to long-term goals and success. And then you've got the urgent but not important. Ideally, you want to delegate those. And you've got neither urgent nor important, and you should delete those. But I'll drop this. I'll drop this on the show notes page so you guys kind of have that. But literally, over in the last interview, you shared some very good value, Stephen, about why CEOs never multitask, right? Why high level CEOs never multitask, right? Not unless they are born multitaskers, because you basically said you just get two tasks completed in a mediocre way, which makes sense, yeah. Because if you've ever tried to do two things that are important at the same time, I don't think either of them get done particularly well. Certainly not by me. There are people that I know who can do these things, but what do you think?
Oh, I think that it's okay. It's complex, and it's a marriage of a couple of things. The Eisenhower Matrix, without a doubt, you need to sit there and say, okay, what's on my table here? What's on my
Yeah,
plate?
yeah,
And there's a big difference. Something I really have to do, and the building's on fire. I really need to do that. But meanwhile, the building is on fire.
right,
So that's honest accounting, honest inventory of what is in your plate and its relevance. Now, uh, the Eisenhower Matrix is a wonderful thing. If you don't do that, then you are, it's like you're a spider under glass. If you
right.
ever witnessed a spider on the glass, the spider seems to be going in every direction all the time, not getting anywhere. It's just that's not a good thing. Multitasking. Now, I can multitask. Okay. Now, let's be clear. The Americanism for multitasking is, well, I can walk and chew gum at the same time. It does not a whole lot of cognitive stuff or competencies go into walking and making sure you don't stumble, go in the right direction, and chewing a 24-cent piece of flavored plastic. And that's not multitasking. Multitasking is when the life or business or job your boss throws a lot of stuff at you. And then the question is, can I do all of that? And I want to spend 1 minute on a failure that many leaders and managements have as it relates to multitasking. So multitasking. Now, I can do what you and I are doing and literally read something unrelated. Now, why is that? Because I learned how to do that. It took a long time. Much the same way as I learned how to read upside down, which took 2 years. I had a very challenging boss who took more notes than Nostradamus, who filled up legal-sized pads multiples a day with this really weird handwriting. And he was always reviewing his notes while talking to you. So as a time-saving measure, I lifted one of those and I studied his handwriting. And I learned how to read it upside down. So while he was trying to figure out his own notes, I could read ahead. Now, multitasking. I can multitask. The typical person multitasks relevant things. As we said, you and I said, okay, let's take on, I'm going to do these 2 things or 3 things at the same time, because I can't do that. I end up with 3 mediocre outcomes. 1, establish a hierarchy of need, hierarchy of us, Eisenhower. Then you say, well, we must do this first. Clear your mind and attack that with vengeance. Now, sometimes you have to go from A to Z in a heartbeat, buildings of fire. And what makes you a good thinker and a good leader and a good CEO is you're going at twice the speed limit from A to Z through that process, because you need to go, and then you realize, as you go along, multitask. You identify the stuff you're going by too fast. That's elegant multitasking. Hey, man, we got to do this. We got to stop the fire. So we got to go from A to Z in a heartbeat. But we can't ignore what we see in the middle, because that's going to come by. Multitask. Do you identify those? Now, I worked on that as a young guy, quite consciously, because my boss demanded it. My boss had exactly 1 gear: working out or turbo boost. Now, when you run a business on turbo boost, the organization will bite you. The reality will bite you. You have to run it as fast, as hard as you can, but you have to be measured. Now, it's one of the problems with people who run that hard, who think they're doing the right thing, is they don't have the necessary communication skills to go with it, or the time. Part of multitasking is, I'm doing this, I'm driving the enterprise, I'm leader, CEO, super manager, Uber, this and that. And in the process, I make some assumptions that my people will get that. They have to. And then something goes awry, and you get a person in your office, and you express that you're really not happy with their performance because blah, blah. And then you have this perfectly quality person doing exactly what they're supposed to do, look at you, and they don't understand. Sir, Mr. CEO, what are you talking about? Well, there was this thing that you were supposed to do and didn't do it. And they have a perfectly, and that your career is suffering right then and there. And then you look at him and say, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. What do you mean? Well, you never communicated that. You're running at a speed. I made my own Eisenhower Matrix based upon everything we're doing, everything you said. And by the way, boss, had you told me to do that, I would have done that. Now, again, I remember my boss laying that on me when I was 20-something years old. And I learned from that as I became more of a boss. And I would tell people that were immediate, I am multitasking. I got a lot to touch. So keep up. I'm doing this, we're doing that, and keep up. And then I would say, Bob, Mary Ellen, we need this tomorrow. Middle of the day, we need it. And then half day, I'm multitasking. I'm running like a dog after a bone. Oh, but guys, we need to do this tomorrow sometime. Okay, good. And then I had such a satisfactory day. Look at all I accomplished. And next, by middle of the day, everything has failed. So you go to your people and say, what happened? You asked for 7 things. That takes about 9 days. What do you expect? Oh, so what I learned to do as a CEO, if you will, or a boss, to say, as an employee, I learned to say this to my boss, who was running at 100 miles an hour all the time, to say, glad to do all of that, but I can't do it all that by middle day tomorrow. Because each one of those is a very unique task that I have to focus on. I can't do both of them by noon tomorrow. I can't do 3 of them by noon tomorrow. In fact, I can't do 3 of them at the same time no matter what. So how about give me a priority list? That's when the brakes get pumped and the good CEO says, okay, I'm multitasking in my brain because I don't have to do anything other than throw that stuff out. But the people engaged in the mechanics of getting all that done, they also have to prioritize. And they can't multitask. The man running the factory line in Kuala Lumpur, he's got a set of realities. He can't multitask. It has to be done that way. The line breaks down. Multitasking is a very elegant idea, which works for some people in some ways. I'm amazed by people who sit down, write 3 books at a time. I believe they end up with 3 maybe readable books, but not great books.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. I write X hundreds, thousands of words every day.
Yeah.
And when I sit down to do that, I have to focus on that. I don't have the brain power to just do 9 things at the same time.
Right.
I can walk and chew gum at the same time. I can do this with you and read something over here on this monitor.
Right.
And that is years of training. I urge you try that.
No, I can't do it. My brain, no, I can't do it. My brain turns into mush. And this is the problem with digital noise. Digital noise, unless we make space in our minds, and what I mean by that is I'll tell you what the results were for me this last week, because it's been 7 days since I went on this journey to reduce the usage of social media, become more focused. So I basically from the exercise, the increase in exercise, and the reduction of looking at these news items, which, believe me, seem to just stack on top of each other every day. It is unbelievable. We'll talk about that at some point, but it is literally unbelievable the amount of PR that is being stacked onto global geopolitics on top of what happened yesterday. Then there's something today, and then tomorrow something else will happen. And it is designed to just keep you overwhelmed, so you stop looking.
The addiction, as you say, is real.
Yeah, it is. It is real.
This is an amphetamine.
It is absolutely. It is now, absolutely. But
here's my experience to parallel yours.
Yeah.
Okay. There are a couple of people in my life who just love Instagram, and they will send me 1, 2, 3 text messages a day with an Instagram link. Now, to their credit, well, tragically, they watch much, so they pick some that are really cool, and they are cool.
Right.
That said, every time I see one of those, I delete it.
Right.
And did you like that? I go back to some of these people and say, I really appreciate that. I just simply haven't the time for it. So please don't. Now, that said, I have discontinued 2 clipping services because I consume a great deal of news.
Right.
I have limited the daily read to 3, 4 different things that are either qualitatively different, meaning to the point, no frills, more texture, conservative, liberal, nuts, etc. I said, no, I can only read this. And then, being that I've written my share of headlines, I know the people who write great headlines and nothing there, and people who write relevant headlines. So I will know, instinctively I learned, I'm going to read that. I don't need to read that. It's clickbait. I don't need to read that.
Right.
Instagram, The only Instagram thing I've seen in the last 3 weeks is something my wife pointed out to me that one of my granddaughters posted. She's in the recital. So I had to see that 34 seconds because I had to do that.
Right.
Twitter. I haven't looked at Twitter. As you know, I was in the room when Twitter was created. I still don't get it. But
I know you haven't. I know you
it's not for
haven't.
me.
I know.
Not for me. Social media is a cancer of the intellect.
I understand that.
But I have to tell you, because this is your fault. Your fault entirely.
Oh dear.
I have quite consciously said, school is doing this. Interesting. Let me just really cut back on this and that. Just because I am busy. I'm busy talking, writing, blah, blah. And so what's the outcome? The outcome is that in the last 7 or 8 days, I listened to 6 or 7 hours of music while reading a book.
That's good.
Whoa. You mean, is that productive?
Yeah.
I'm about halfway through the second book in a week. Yeah. Then I'm inhaling through the night.
Amazing.
Because there's 2 writers I like to read.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Daniel Silver new book came out every July. Right. I was guy one who bought it and I read it. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I don't need any other stimulus. I'm good with that. You and I create a lot of stimulus.
We do.
But you're right. The productivity aspect of the reducing digital noise is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm amazed actually by some of the people that are in our lives who are really top-notch CEOs, if you will, of that caliber, who just so instantly respond to text message. And I'm thinking, don't you have anything better to do than respond to a text message from me? I can't wait 3 hours for you to respond, but you can't wait a minute to respond. I'm amazed by that. Now, I do scan my emails with regularity, although I have more filters in my email program than you can believe.
Right.
90% of all the mail is filtered out anyway. And then at some point at the end of the day, when I don't want anything else, I may look at some of those filters. Other than that, because it does cut into my productivity. It really does.
It does massively. But actually, what you said about listening to music and reading, it's a similar thing to what I do with my exercise, my Tai Chi, a bit of meditation, cooking as another example, riding motorcycles, all of these things, or even having a little swim, all these things remove you from the stress that you're feeling. And then when you come back, you're far less stressed, and it gives your brain a chance to recover. And in that space where you're not thinking about things, you might remember something that you should do or something that you should have done. But also looking at your daily tasks is something that I did. I started doing that, and I realized that I was framing my daily tasks in the wrong way. I was actually looking at my daily tasks and saying to myself, "Oh, I don't like that," and I didn't realize actually I run my own diary, I run my own life, I run my own tasks, right? And these tasks are my choice. It's not like someone's telling me you this is what you have to do. I choose what I have to do. And then I was like, So I was thinking of them as a bad choice, right? And then I thought, actually, no, they're my choice, what I do. And actually, you cannot love everything that you do is something that I discovered whilst I was on this journey this past week. But you can be sure you can frame that in your mind so that you don't hate those things, and you can remind yourself that it's not always going to be that way, right? And that's something that I found really helped my brain to say, do you know what? Because I had a productivity block around doing these short videos because I edit them myself because I want to get good at that, and I've done enough to know what is good and what people actually need, and I'm actually beginning to enjoy that. And if you're watching this, you're still here. I'd love to invite you to try try our methods here. Let us know what you think of those. Also, tell us what your biggest distraction is, and let us know how you're doing with that, because we'd love to hear from you. And we're really getting involved now with our community at Monday Influencer, and Influential Visions is part of that and what we do over there. So do tune in for next week, because we've got another conversation around this massive topic. I'm going to keep that as a secret, but it'll be partly to do, obviously, with productivity and how to reach your peak performance. Because I do think taking advice from people who've done it before and who've been in business for decades is really important. I don't see the point of trying to reinvent the wheel, in my personal opinion. And that's why I work with Stephen, because he's built massive businesses in the past, and he's someone that you guys really need to listen to, And I've always had mentors and people that I look up to. And I think that it's really important when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. It's important. And, and we love what we do here. And the beauty is that I get to ask questions that are really dumb. And people actually, it's okay, because they don't know. I'm actually asking them because maybe I was really dumb when I asked that question. And that's okay.
Nathaniel, I'm capable of asking some of the dumbest questions of history. I'd like to think that my questions are testable hypotheses.
Yeah.
And maybe something wise will come out of all of that. Hey, if you don't ask, you're not going to get an answer. If you don't ask, you're not going to get.
It just depends. It just depends how tolerant your friends are. I mean, like, literally, when I first started doing my own websites, about 15 years ago, I remember I said to my friend Eric, I said, hey buddy, can you show me how to do this? And sent him this email saying that, and then he said sure, this is what you do. And then I sent him another email saying, oh, I'm really stuck on this. And he said, okay, you just do this. And then the third email, all in the same day, the third email within 2 hours, he said, Google is your friend. That's it. Google is your friend, which means don't ask me any more questions. And we have a very strict relationship right now that is literally, I don't ask him any dumb questions that I can't find out on Google. But the thing is, though, is that if you've exhausted yourself, you've done as much research as you can do, and you're still stuck, you need to ask someone, or you need to find a place where you can actually get really high quality information, like this 3D printer over here. I haven't used it yet, right? But I will not be asking Eric how to use it, because he gave it to me and he said, do not ask me how to use this printer, right?
Is easy enough. Ask Elon Musk and he'll tell you. Just ask Brock.
It's pretty dark. It's pretty plug and play. I think I just need to literally just go to a library, plug it in, get the thing I want to print, and then stick it in the thing, and it will just print it. I hope. But that is a distraction from productivity. And
I'd like to add a little qualitative twist to all this for a moment here. Is you have an Eisenhower model. Just because you don't like it, that doesn't mean you can put it off, because it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
A tough topic is like a rash. It will just get worse. It's not going to go away. And by the way, 99% of the time, when you finally get there, you don't have a choice. You have to do it. You do it and say, no, why didn't I do this a month ago?
100%.
Now, the thing that I want to encourage folks to do is, time management is massive. You marry time management with the Eisenhower Matrix, and then there's sensitivities and all sorts of other pressures, but you put all that together. And then you sit there and you have to do that, but school would beat you up into getting a half-hour exercise. Okay. I'm going to go get some fresh air, clear my mind, or I have to get some sleep. Once again, it's a matter of training, which you can get from some of us who've been there. Because during my night, I typically send myself 3 or 4 emails. Because I wake up at 2 a.m. preoccupied. And again at 3:15 and 3:30, my body clock set on 3:30, and then whatever. And I then send myself an email, 3 words, whatever, and I have a very cognitive moment. Okay, I know this is a bad thing, but nobody's going to listen to me at 3 a.m. Bad thing, but I have to deal with it. And then I tell myself, and I'll give the punchline. Done. I'm not going to forget it. And around 8 or 9 in the morning, when the world wakes up, I will deal with it and I will handle it.
Right.
Go back to sleep. And there's a transition that I encourage you all to work on. And maybe you will participate in our upcoming cognitive workshops where you can turn you're running around because school had told you got to get exercise, or you're out to dinner, or whatever, or you're clearing your mind, and anxiety builds about doing that. You become really anxious. The higher the anxiety level, the worse the quality is of what you're going to do. It just is. Because you're totally reacting rather than, and it's awful.
Right.
And we will teach you to go from anxiety to excitement. No, that's not building. The building's not on fire, but the building needs fire retention and fire retardants, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, must do it now because the building next door burned down. Oh, okay. We can take that anxiety and turn it into positive anticipation.
Wow.
At 9 in the morning, I'm going to call Joe, Mary Ellen, Bob. I'm going to attack this. This is what I'm going to do, and it's going to get solved. I'm a CEO being really productive, really focused, and my whole attention to it is not deleterious to the outcome. I'm not freaking out. I'm not anxious. I took my anxiety. Oh, you got to do this. Exactly. That the real positive anticipation, excitement even.
Yeah.
It'll be okay till 9 in the morning when I really get to it, and then we will really succeed. And by the way, nothing is more motivating to staff than when the CEO is clearly motivated, focused, excited, forward-looking. That's infectious.
Exactly.
A much worse infection is when the boss is freaking out. The boss is anxious. Uh-oh, what else is going on? Is my job on the line? How about that for a little snippet of leadership teaching?
Fantastic.
Okay. I mean, how did I learn that? Again, I worked for a number of years for a couple of people, and one of them was really brilliant. He was very emotional.
Right.
And I remember years into my little tenure, the day I worked up the courage. It took me a couple of years to work up the courage, where I walked in my boss's office at about 11:30 in the morning, because he used to come to work at 11. And I say, is everything okay? What do you mean? Is everything all right? Is there something I should know? Because it kind of falls on me, And no, everything's fine. I said, are you having a bad morning? Why? Well, maybe he was running. Maybe he didn't like his run. Maybe the breakfast wasn't quite right. Had an argument with somebody. And I would say to him, do you understand that you are our leader? You're my boss. You're our leader. And your demeanor, your conduct affects a few thousand people here. And so what are you talking about, Steve? I got to tell you, I had 7 phone calls from people in various buildings. And they were all, hey, Steve, how's it going? Oh, good. What's going on? Business as usual. Gee, I was still having a staff meeting at 9 every week. And about the third, fourth, fifth call, I said, why are these people calling me? And then I called back and said, what's up? Well, is everything okay? Because, your boss seems anxious, upset, instead of his usual appealing self. That's when I went to my boss and said, look, man, I got all these people around standing around wondering if something's really bad because you had an argument with your wife or you didn't like your cereal. Nothing is more infectious than a positive, forward-looking, strong, focused leader. On task, on mission. I'll follow that guy. But the guy who's getting squirrely on me, I remember a senior VP Human Resources called me and said, do I need to update my resume? You kidding? You got the greatest job in America. Why? Well, something's going on. What is it? Of course, at about 1 o'clock, my boss took a tour of the facilities, smiled and shook hands with a lot of people. By 3 o'clock, everything was cool. How's that for a lesson in leadership? That I learned when I had very smart people ask me if the world is caving in because the boss was in a bad mood.
That's interesting.
Who knows why? And he, by the way, for that period of time, from the time he came in till later in the afternoon, he was useless.
But it throws off everyone if you're in a bad mood, because everyone becomes worried, anxious, negative, and it infects people with your feelings that you're feeling. But I do think that being in control of your emotions is a vital step in focus mastery, in really controlling your digital noise as well. Because if you pick up that phone, you're not in control of your emotions. Your phone is in control of your brain because it wants you to pick it up, because there are teams and teams of people who design phones that are there to just get you to pick up your phone. They've made it so well. It's become such a great product. All of these phones, they're designed to retain your attention. So not only have you got people who are there, manufacturers of phones are encouraging them to keep you using your phone, but you've also got applications that hire people that want to get you to go back to the applications. And if you haven't watched The Social Dilemma, I highly recommend you go out and watch that. It's on Netflix, and it will explain to you exactly what I just said to you. But for now, we're going to love you and leave you. And please do comment if you want some help with anything. We'd love to hear from you. We're always there to take questions, and we're really enjoying building this community here at Monday Influencers. So
I have to pitch. I think all our Monday Influencers are fantastic. For a month, the first of the month we publish a Monday Influencer, which is beefy, very beefy, multi-topical, and then the 3 Mondays of the month we publish what we call a Monday Influencer Abstract. We get much more focused on a limited topic. Limited topics, and with that comes complete with challenges, tasks, timelines, and outcomes. And if you read one, the one that came out Monday the 28th is on communications, which is a massive topic, and a lot of ships sink for lack of good communications.
100%.
So if the big old ship that took $7 billion to build sinks, because of bad communication on board, what chance do you and I have in our personal lives, our business lives, our employment lives, if we don't learn to communicate effectively? What
100%.
shot do we have? The answer is none.
Yeah.
So I had to pitch that because I think it's just truly superior.
Well, it is. It is amazing what we're doing over there, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's growing into something that it's pretty amazing. Blows my mind, actually. So what can I say? People, if you're watching this, you need to go to mondayinfluencer.com and go and grab your $1 trial for that. And we'd love to see you there. So Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for listening to Influential Visions. Please make sure you share this episode with your friends and business connections. And don't forget to drop us a review wherever you listen. Thanks.